Okay, this is my very first attempt at making any kind of video like this. And if anybody had ever told me I would do it, I would just absolutely know that they were out of their mind. And maybe I'm out of mine. But anyway, I'm going to try to do this. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and music, Christian music, gospel music, comedy, uplifting, encouraging type things. And one of the people I've been looking at is Mark Lowry. And when I was growing up, I can remember watching, TV on Sunday morning, and then over the years, some of the Gaither groups and whatnot. And I knew who he was, but anyway, I've got reacquainted with all of that. And he has introduced me through his videos and some of these interviews and different things to not only him, but some others as well, to a lot of different performers, singers, musicians, and to me it's intriguing, especially to hear the stories behind how songwriters write their lyrics and all of that. But anyway, one of the things that he has been doing is encouraging his listeners to start doing YouTube videos so that, and post them, believe it or not, and make it public. I can't imagine. But anyway, so that their children and grandchildren one day will be able to have that. And it would be nice, after you lose your parents and your grandparents, to be able to look back and hear their voice and hear them tell some of the stories that they did. And I wish I had been able to have done that. But anyway, so I'm going to see how this goes. My plan is to record some of my favorite songs that I play on the piano. I'm going to start with some hymns. Those are the standards. And I'll work my way up to Canon in D. I know it's one of my favorites, and I know you girls enjoy that as well. Once I get to that one, I'll go into more detail about the story, how I first heard that song, and I liked it, and I wanted to get the music, but I didn't know how to get that. It was actually on a soap opera on CBS called The Guiding Light. But anyway, this was long before the days of being able to do an internet search and Google and find out things. But suffice it to say, I wrote a letter to CBS Broadcasting, and they responded, believe it or not. But anyway, I did get my music. That'll be another story for another segment. But anyway, there is a way to find out the things that you need to know, even without the internet, I guess. But anyway, like the saying goes, never hurts to ask, so don't ever be afraid to do that. So let me tell you a little bit about my piano lessons. My mama, Christine Wiggum, she always wanted to play the piano. And she came from a family who was poor. They didn't have any musical talent within that family. And they certainly didn't have any money for instruments or lessons or anything like that. She was born in 1928, and she truly was a Depression child. To her dying day, she never wanted to be wasteful. She never wanted to throw anything away. That, you might need it one day, and then we might could repurpose this. We might could use it for something else, because you just may never know when you might need this. So I know you girls have heard that story many times over the years, when she left to go to school to get a teaching certificate, which it only took 2 years at that point, and she went all the way from Wickham, Georgia to Norman Park, Georgia, which is not even as far as Moultrie. But anyway, when she left home, she didn't have a car. She had to ride the bus, and she had one pair of shoes. Literally one pair of shoes, and that's what she wore if she had to work in the field, and then they'd clean it up and she'd wear those same shoes to church. And she had 2 pair of underwear. So every night she had to wash out a pair. But anyway, certainly she was blessed, and her life did improve greatly, but she never forgot. So anyway, back to the piano lessons. So she had no musical contact. She didn't know what she was doing. She just knew she wanted me to learn how to play the piano. So she got me set up with the only person she knew that taught piano lessons. And it was an older lady that lived north of Cairo, Miss Lolly Prince. And, you know, this was also before the days of being able to do internet reviews and find out the best of whatever that you're looking for. I think I started taking lessons maybe when I was in the third grade, maybe second grade, third grade, something like that. I had a weekly lesson on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock at Miss Prince's house. And she lived in this real old, stark wooden farmhouse type place. Nothing fancy whatsoever. Down this dirt road. I thought she was ancient. She was very plain looking. She had a million bobby pins in her hair. And looking back on it, I don't know why, because her hair was not that long. But anyway, she, at that time, I mean, she looked and she acted like she was like 80 or 90 years old. And I can't remember exactly when she died, but it was many, many years later. Maybe either when I was in college or maybe even after I had married. But so looking back at the time, she was probably really maybe 50. I don't know. But anyway, I can remember the sheet music that she would give me to practice from. And this was not those store-bought theory books. I eventually got a few of those, but initially it was handwritten sheets of paper that she had drawn out the music, the notes, the staff, the words, and so forth. And I know one day when y'all go through all of my collection of these piano books and hymns and sheet music and all of that, you're probably going to come across some of it. I can remember her rigidly holding my hands in a certain position on the piano. And at some point she'd get aggravated with me, probably because I hadn't practiced a lot. You don't want me to get cross with you, do you? And I mean, she would just hold my hand in a certain position like I was supposed to have my hands, you know. But it wasn't that I didn't want to take piano lessons. I didn't mind it. I just didn't like it being on Saturday morning because I could never watch my cartoons. And I loved the Flintstones. But you've also got to remember this would have been in the early 1970s, and it was long before dish, satellite TV, and direct TV or cable or whatever. I mean, you know, you got 3 channels on a good day, and you certainly didn't have a cartoon channel that was dedicated to running cartoons 24 hours a day. But anyway, to say the least, my personality and Miss Prince's, we didn't really mesh all that well. But probably when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, I switched over to another piano teacher, Miss Hester, and she was better. But then at last, once I got into high school, and I joined the chorus, Mr. Ed Timmerman was the choral director. And I started taking piano lessons under him. And I learned more in those few years that I was in high school than all of the other years combined. And if Mama had only known to have started with him. But anyway, you know, hindsight's real clear. But like any parent, she did the best she could, given with what she had and what she knew at the time. So anyway, I do think a lot of Mr. Timmerman, and every time he's still living, and every time I run into him, if he's playing at a funeral or wherever, I always make a point to go talk to him. He's a very accomplished musician, plays the piano and even pipe organs at the Baptist and Methodist churches. So anyway, there was one other short lesson that I had. I was probably about 15 or 16 years old, and I had already started playing the piano at Pine Level Baptist Church. And I played the piano, and Miss Elva Willis played the organ. And then she was an older lady as well. And Mama wanted me to also, she thought it would be good for me to learn how to play the organ since I could play the piano, I could play the organ, you know. So she got me in one summer. I took some lessons with a lady in Albany, Georgia. I don't remember her name. She was at a piano, organ, music store in the Albany Mall. But Mama would drive me up there. And she was, she had a little more jazz about her. As Mark Lowry said, she probably had a little Pentecostal in her background, but she was good. But I would go over to the church and practice on the organ there. But and it was okay. I never got comfortable playing the organ. You got to be coordinated, and you got to be talented, because you got both of your hands are doing something different, and both of your feet are doing something different. So you got 4 things going at one time. But or at least that's the way back then. I don't know now. Maybe with these fancy keyboards, it's not that. I don't know. But anyway, but one other little story about Miss Elva Willis, I won't ever forget her either. So at church, I would play the piano, she would play the organ. And I remember I was probably about 16 years old. We had a funeral. I don't remember whose funeral it was, but anyway, we finished the funeral. We were walking out of the church, and she said something to me that I will never forget, and I think about it still to this day every time I get ready to go to a funeral. But at that funeral, I had worn this white eyelet ruffled skirt that Mama had made for me. It was pretty. She had gone all out. And I had this red ruffled blouse that went with it, and it was one of my favorite outfits, and it was comfortable, and it was cute and pretty, and I thought I was dressed. So I go to the funeral, we played for the funeral. It's over, we're walking out, and Miss Willis comes up to me, and she said, "Well, you do know that you're not supposed to wear red to a funeral." I was shocked. I didn't know what to say to her. No, I didn't know that. And I just thought, well, if this is some hard and fast fashion rule, surely my mama would have told me that. I mean, after all, I did grow up, well, you know, you didn't wear white pants and white shoes until Easter, and then when it got after Labor Day, you couldn't wear white pants and white shoes anymore. So, but I never heard that I couldn't wear a red to a funeral, and I thought I looked nice. But anyway, she put me in my place, and like I said, to this day, I have not forgotten that. And anyway, fashion rules certainly have changed. But anyway, after I went to college and got married, I never played in church again. And as life became increasingly busy and family, I hadn't made a lot of time to just sit down and play the piano, except every now and then. But in the past few months, I have started picking it back up again. I played a lot more as I've listened to a lot more music, become reacquainted with a lot of songs. And as I look back through these hymn books, I've got some of these songs that I didn't realize that I had. Anyway, don't throw things away. Don't throw good music books away and whatnot. You never know when you'll circle back and it'll mean something to you down the road. But anyway, I'm gonna try this. I know I'm gonna make blunders. I am not a professional, but and I don't know if I'll ever have grandchildren or not. But maybe you girls will want to look back and remember. So anyway, I love you. I don't know how I don't know the best way to organize all this stuff, and I'm not gonna do a lot at one time, maybe just 2 or 3 hymns, and then, I don't know, another episode or something. I don't know how this works. But anyway, I don't sing, and I'm gonna try not to hum, because I'm sure it'll probably pick that up on the video. But I don't know what my favorite hymn is. I'm just going to play you several of them. I've always liked When We All Get to Heaven, and I like the faster ones. There's a couple of slower ones that I have, but as you look up the words to some of these hymns, read read the words, think about what it's really saying. And I've always found it intriguing to pay attention to who the songwriters were, either the people that wrote the lyrics and the music, both of them, and their ages, those years. This one was written in 1851 by Eliza Hewitt and Emily Wilson. She was born in 1865, so this is Civil War to 1942. So anyway, here we go. That this thing is recording and just play like I'm just playing. Another one I like in the past couple of years, probably the past 3 or 4 years, is Abide With Me. And it's got some good words, especially when you get to that verse about, well, they're all good, but change and decay in all is all around. Change and decay in all around I see. O thou who changest not, abide with me. Pretty good. This was written Henry Light, 1793, and William Henry Monk in 1823. He was born to 1889. Then we get to Blessed Assurance and Fanny Crosby. She was remarkable, totally remarkable. I've been doing some reading about her, and I want to get one of her autobiography books or whatever. It's amazing, some of the stories behind her. She was blind, and there's another song, I Shall Know Him, by the Nail Prints in His Hands. I got to find that music out of all these hymn books. You would think I would have that one, but I don't have that one. But that one's on the list to get. She was born in 1820, died in 1915. And one thing is true in life, you're going to think back. It's going to be these hymns that you remember. And when the rug kind of gets pulled out in front of you and you need it, it's some of these hymns that I think about. They sure do help me.